I'm here because I honestly don't know what to do anymore, and I'm hoping that putting everything in writing might help me make sense of it. My wife and I have been together for 7 years, married for 4. We were the couple that people looked at and said, those two really have it figured out. At least that's what I thought. We had our routines, our inside jokes, our shared plans for the future. I loved her, and I thought she loved me in the solid, dependable way you're supposed to when you're building a life with someone. About 3 months ago, I started noticing little things that felt off. Nothing dramatic at first. She started guarding her phone in a way that didn't used to be her style. Not just keeping it near her, but keeping it face down, taking it to the bathroom, turning the screen away from me when she texted. When I asked if work was getting busier, she sighed like I was being annoying and told me she didn't want to talk about stress all the time. We used to tell each other everything, but suddenly she was shutting down every conversation. Another change, she started going out with her friends from yoga more often. Thing is, she hasn't mentioned yoga in at least a year. I actually thought it was good she found a hobby again, so I didn't question it. I tried to be supportive, but the late night returns, the half-explained plans, that weirdly defensive attitude when I asked innocent questions, those started piling up. She rolled her eyes, insulted me for being paranoid, and made me feel like I was the problem for even noticing. I kept telling myself marriages have ups and downs. People get stressed. People get distant. Maybe I was imagining it. Maybe I was just tired. Maybe anything other than the thing my gut was screaming. I wish I had trusted that gut sooner. The actual moment everything unraveled wasn't some Hollywood scene. It was boring and stupid and completely accidental. She asked me to order food while she took a shower before heading out to another yoga hangout. Her phone was on the kitchen counter and lit up with a notification from a delivery app she uses. I picked it up to check the restaurant she wanted, and that's when another notification popped up. An Instagram DM preview. His name. A guy I'd never heard of. The message said, "Can't wait to see you tonight. Last time was insane." My brain just froze. I didn't snoop at first. I just stared at the lock screen, trying to convince myself I'd read it wrong, misinterpreted it, something. But I opened the phone. I don't even know how. My thumb just unlocked it automatically, like my body made the decision for me before my mind caught up. There were messages, weeks of them, videos, photos, conversations about meeting in hotels, inside jokes, and the way she talked about me, calling me pathetic, boring, obsessed with her, and bragging about how easy it was to lie to me. My chest went numb reading it. Then came the sudden hits that made it all feel 10 times worse. I scrolled further back and realized she had been seeing him not for a few weeks, but for months. Some of the nights she told me she was visiting her sister, she was with him. The weekend she said she was too exhausted to take the trip we'd been planning for weeks. She went on a getaway with him instead. And then another blow. She told him she was planning to ask me for a break soon because she deserved someone more exciting. This wasn't some temporary lapse. She was planning to phase me out of her life completely. I should have walked away from that phone, but I kept scrolling until my hands were shaking and I couldn't breathe. Every line I read destroyed something in me I didn't even know I could lose. That's when she walked back into the kitchen, fresh out of the shower, hair wrapped in a towel, and saw me holding her phone. Her whole face changed in half a second, and the confrontation began. The moment she saw the phone in my hand, her entire expression snapped from casual to furious. Not guilty, not scared, furious. She snatched the phone out of my hand so fast she almost dropped it and yelled, "What the hell is your problem?" Like I was the one violating something. I didn't yell back. I just asked, "Who is he?" That question hit her harder than shouting ever would. She froze for a split second, then immediately shifted into performance mode. First tactic? Denial. "I don't know what you're talking about," even though the screen was still lit up with their messages. I told her I'd read everything. Her face twitched, like she wanted to keep up the lie but physically couldn't. So she pivoted again, quick and cold. "You shouldn't have gone through my personal things." No remorse, no fear of losing me, just anger that she got caught. I kept asking simple questions. How long? Why? Are you leaving? But every answer she gave was either half-truth or pure hostility. First she said it only happened once. Then when I said I saw months of messages, she changed it to a few times. Then she said it didn't mean anything, followed by claiming she wasn't happy anymore, then insisting she would have ended it on her own. None of it matched. She couldn't even settle on one lie. It was a mess of contradictions designed to confuse me. Then came the low blow. She said if I paid more attention to her, she wouldn't have had to look elsewhere. Like her affair was my fault. Like me trusting her was some kind of weakness she was justified in exploiting. I remember standing there, gripping the counter because my legs felt like they were shaking. She just paced around the kitchen, cursing under her breath like I ruined her night by figuring out the truth. The final straw was when she grabbed her purse and shouted, "I'm leaving. I need space from your drama." And she actually walked out, slammed the door behind her. No apology, no hesitation. She left to go see him. The silence she left behind felt unreal. I just stood there in our kitchen, surrounded by every memory of a life I thought we were building, and for the first time, it felt like a stranger's house. When the door slammed behind her, it was like the whole world suddenly went quiet. No music, no TV, no footsteps upstairs, just silence, thick enough to hear my own pulse. I didn't break down right away. I just stood there, staring at the empty space where she had been yelling at me minutes earlier, trying to understand how someone who used to laugh with me in this exact room could walk out to be with somebody else without even flinching. The first wave was shock, not the dramatic movie kind, more like my brain refusing to process what I had just seen. I kept pacing around the house because sitting still hurt. Every room reminded me of something that now felt fake. The couch where we watched movies together, the table where we celebrated anniversaries, the bed where she slept next to me while lying through her teeth. I remember catching myself thinking, maybe it's not as bad as it looked. Like my mind was bargaining even though the evidence was right there. Then the anger hit. The kind that doesn't feel loud. It's the quiet kind that makes your hands shake. I punched the air once, not even a wall, because I wasn't even angry at something physical. I was angry at the idea that I ever believed her so completely. Angry that she made fun of me to him. Angry that she blamed me for her own lies. Angry that I didn't see it sooner. And after the anger burned itself out, the sadness moved in. Not crying sadness, just a heavy weight that made everything slow and dull. I sat on the edge of the bed and felt like the floor might open up under me. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, all I could think of was her laughing with him, texting him while sitting right next to me, planning a future without me, while letting me believe everything was fine. The part that hurt the most wasn't the cheating itself. It was realizing she didn't see me as a person who could be hurt. She saw me as an obstacle to step around. That realization knocked something loose in me, like I could feel the version of myself from before breaking away, and I wasn't sure what would be left when it was over. By the time the sun came up, I wasn't the same person who made dinner for her the night before. She didn't come home that night. Around 6 a.m., I heard her keys in the door. I didn't get up. I just sat at the kitchen table, staring at the cold coffee I'd poured hours earlier. She walked in like nothing had happened, like we'd just had a small argument and she'd gone to cool off. She didn't apologize. She didn't even look embarrassed. Her first words were, "We need to talk about how you invaded my privacy." That was the moment something inside me finally clicked into place. Not rage, not desperation, just clarity. I told her calmly that I wasn't going to pretend that this was a misunderstanding or something we could gloss over. I said I knew she'd been planning to leave me anyway, so I would save her the trouble. That I wanted a separation. She did not expect that. She immediately went from cold to frantic anger, claiming I was throwing away our marriage, that I was overreacting, that everyone makes mistakes, and that I was being dramatic because I'm insecure. It was unreal, listening to her try to flip the blame back onto me like she hadn't spent months lying while openly mocking me behind my back. When she realized emotional manipulation wasn't working, she tried bargaining, saying she'd block him, go to counseling, do whatever it takes. But the word block stuck with me. She wasn't sorry she cheated. She was sorry she got caught. She wanted to cut him off, not for us, but to protect her image and keep her stability. I told her I was done. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't pleading. I was simply done. The sudden shift came fast. The same person who told her affair partner that she deserved someone more exciting was suddenly clinging to me, crying, promising she could change. But it wasn't real sadness. It was fear. Fear of losing comfort, security, reputation. She cried harder when I mentioned packing a suitcase and staying with my brother for a while than she did when I told her she'd broken me. That's when I knew I was making the right decision. I left that afternoon with a bag of clothes and my laptop. I didn't slam the door. I didn't say something dramatic. I just walked out because staying would have meant killing myself slowly with doubt and humiliation. The first few days after I left were strange. On paper, I was free, but emotionally I felt like I was learning how to exist all over again. At my brother's place, I slept on his pull-out couch and tried to focus on basic tasks: shower, eat, work, but everything felt distant and mechanical. My brother tried to give me space without hovering, and I appreciated that more than I can say. Just having someone nearby who wasn't lying to me was grounding. My phone didn't stop buzzing. At first it was texts from her, long messages alternating between blame and apologies, then voice notes where she cried, then angry walls of text about how I was ruining everything over something fixable. When I didn't respond, she started calling, over and over. Then she showed up at my brother's apartment unannounced, pounding on the door and demanding I talk to her. My brother answered and told her to leave. She started shouting that he was turning me against her. It was chaos. Then came the sudden twist I didn't expect. She emailed me a long message admitting to the affair, but only because she said she wanted to explain her side before people get the wrong impression. She had already told her parents that I abandoned her without warning. She painted herself as the victim before I even had time to react. Another lie, another strategy, another attempt to control the story. One of the worst moments came when mutual friends started reaching out. A couple of them clearly had no idea what was going on. They just said she seemed really upset and asked if we were having a rough patch. That's when I realized she was working overtime to protect her image while I was just trying to breathe. But here's the thing. Every new lie made it easier to move on. The more she tried to twist reality, the more I saw who she actually was, not the person I thought I married. And that realization hurt, but it also helped. I stopped answering her messages. I told her once, clearly and without emotion, that I wanted a divorce, and that further communication should go through a lawyer. After that, I muted her number. For the first time in months, my life got quiet again. Not the paralyzing silence from the night she walked out, but a calm one. A silence that didn't feel like something was about to fall apart. Healing didn't happen in one dramatic moment. It came in small, subtle shifts that I almost didn't notice at first. The day I woke up and realized I hadn't thought about her affair for the first 5 minutes of the morning. The first dinner I enjoyed without feeling guilty for enjoying something while my life was collapsing. The first time I laughed at something stupid on TV instead of just forcing a reaction. I started going to therapy once a week. At first, I only talked about the cheating, but eventually the sessions turned into something bigger, untangling how I had slowly trained myself to ignore my own needs to keep the relationship stable. I realized how many times in the past she had brushed off my feelings, rolled her eyes when I opened up about something personal, or acted like any concern I raised was an annoyance. I used to think those moments were small and harmless. Now I can see they were warning. The legal process was exhausting. Not because we were fighting over anything major, we didn't have kids or shared property, but because she kept trying to delay, renegotiate, restart conversations that didn't need restarting. I stuck to my decision anyway. Every step forward was a reminder that I wasn't trapped anymore. The sudden events that used to break me started losing their power. A mutual friend told me she was dating someone new already. Instead of feeling gutted, all I felt was relief that she wasn't trying to cling to me anymore. Later, I found out the affair guy and she had already broken up. I didn't care. Their drama wasn't my life anymore. Acceptance didn't show up as forgiveness. It showed up as indifference. The day the divorce papers were finalized, I didn't celebrate. I didn't feel triumphant or angry or miserable. I just felt steady. I walked outside afterward, bought myself lunch, and sat alone on a park bench without needing to distract myself. It hit me that I didn't have to monitor someone's moods anymore, or question my own intuition, or fight to prove I deserved loyalty. I felt like myself again for the first time in a long time. Looking back now, it's strange how obvious the signs were once I stopped trying to rationalize them. The distance, the defensiveness, the sudden irritability, the secretive phone habits. None of that was subtle. I just didn't want to believe that someone I loved could treat me that way. I kept giving her the benefit of the doubt because I loved the person I thought she was, not the person she actually turned out to be. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. When your gut tells you something is wrong in your relationship, don't silence it just because you're afraid of what the truth might be. Love shouldn't require self-betrayal. It shouldn't make you shrink yourself just to keep the peace. And loyalty doesn't mean pretending not to see the things that are right in front of you. I'm not going to pretend everything is perfect now. Some days, I still feel the weight of what happened. Some days I catch myself wondering if I could have fixed things earlier or if I missed warning signs from the beginning. But those thoughts pass. And when they do, what's left is the realization that losing someone who didn't value me wasn't really a loss. I'm rebuilding my life slowly. I don't know when I'll date again. I don't know if I'll ever fully understand why she did what she did, but I do know this. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not heartbroken. I'm not waiting for an apology that's never going to mean anything. I'm just moving forward. For anyone reading this who's in the same situation or suspects they might be, here's my advice. Do not underestimate your instincts. Do not let someone gaslight you into doubting your reality. Do not accept blame for someone else's betrayal. And do not stay somewhere you are only valued when you're silent. You deserve a partner who protects your heart, not one who treats it like an inconvenience. If you're afraid of leaving, I get it. I was terrified too. But the pain of staying with someone who lies to you every day is worse than the pain of walking away. The moment you choose yourself, even if it's scary, even if you're shaking, you take your life back, and that's worth everything.